Number 10. The 2026 Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S. Mercedes-AMG built the GLE 63S as proof that a full-size SUV can carry genuine performance credentials without compromise. Under the hood sits a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, hand-assembled at AMG's Falterbach facility, producing 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. That output propels the GLE from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, a figure that challenges dedicated sports cars from a decade prior. The AMG Ride Control Plus air suspension operates across 3 distinct damping modes, each recalibrating the chassis' response in real time, while the AMG Active Ride Control System actively suppresses body roll through hydraulic anti-roll technology. Inside, the AMG-specific instrument layout keeps critical driving data forward-facing, with physical controls preserved for throttle mapping and exhaust tone. Decisions that prioritize function over aesthetic minimalism. The GLE 63S isn't attempting to be extraordinary, it simply is. Starting price, around $132,000 MSRP. That's the lowest ranked SUV on this list, and it already packs 603 horsepower. You're not ready for what's at the top. You won't regret it. Number 9. The 2026 BMW X5M Competition. Few nameplates in the performance SUV segment carry the engineering pedigree that the X5M Competition does, entering its latest iteration. The S63 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 delivers 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque, with M-twin power technology minimizing turbo lag to near imperceptible levels across the rev range. 0 to 60 arrives in 3.7 seconds, identical on paper to the GLE, yet distinctly different in character. Where the Mercedes surges with Germanic authority, the BMW pulls with surgical precision. The M-specific X-Drive all-wheel drive system biases torque rearward under normal conditions, introducing genuine rear drive dynamics before distributing grip when traction demands it. Active M differential at the rear axle enables measured oversteer during track deployment. The cabin architecture reflects M Division's philosophy, driver-centric, information-dense, with M1 and M2 programmable buttons governing every dynamic parameter. The X5M Competition remains the benchmark which its rivals measure ambition. Starting price, about $131,000 MSRP. Number 8. The 2026 Land Rover Defender Octa. The Defender Octa represents something Land Rover has never attempted before, a vehicle engineered for absolute extremes at both ends of the performance spectrum. Its 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, sourced from BMW's M Division and recalibrated by Land Rover engineers, generates 626 horsepower with a torque curve broad enough to haul at low revs and sprint ferociously above 4,000 RPM. The 0 to 60 time of 3.8 seconds is remarkable not for the number itself, but for what the vehicle weighs when it achieves it. 6-piston Brembo calipers, front and rear, provide stopping force commensurate with that acceleration. The Octa's 6D dynamic suspension, hydraulically interconnected system unlike conventional air setups, decouples body motion from wheel articulation, making the vehicle composed on tarmac and capable off it without mechanical compromise. titanium exhaust trim and carbon fiber structural reinforcements signal intent throughout the interior. The Octa is Land Rover's definitive answer to every question about what a Defender could become. Starting price, approximately $158,300 MSRP. If you're still here after 3 entries, you already know this channel's for you. Hit subscribe and let's keep going. Number 7. The 2026 Audi RS Q8 Performance. Audi's 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 arrives here in its highest state of tune, producing 631 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, with 48-volt mild hybrid integration, smoothing power delivery across the entire usable rev range. The result is a 3.4-second 0 to 60 that feels composed rather than violent, controlled rather than explosive, a distinction that separates Audi's performance philosophy from its rivals. Quattro all-wheel drive distributes torque with sub-millisecond precision through an active torque vectoring rear differential, allowing the RS Q8 to rotate through corners with an agility its dimensions shouldn't permit. Dynamic RS suspension with PDCC Sport equivalent active roll stabilization keeps lateral movement minimal under hard cornering loads. The RS-specific interior layers Alcantara, carbon fiber, and configurable ambient lighting into a driver environment that communicates performance intent without theatrical excess. Audi's benchmark has never been louder, it's always been faster. Starting price, about $138,300 MSRP. The 2026 Bentley Bentayga Speed. Bentley's approach to performance has always been philosophical. Power applied with authority, not aggression. The Bentayga Speed channels 641 horsepower from a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, a unit chosen over the W12 for its sharper throttle response and superior weight distribution across the front axle. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds is delivered with an imperious smoothness that makes the figure feel understated, as though the vehicle is operating well within its capabilities at all times. Bentley Dynamic Ride, a 48-volt electric active anti-roll system, neutralizes forces with a response time of 1500 milliseconds, maintaining composure through direction changes that would unsettle far lighter machinery. Carbon ceramic brakes are standard fitment on the Speed, offering fade-resistant deceleration regardless of repeated high-speed deployment. The cabin remains Bentley's signature environment: hand-stitched leather, rotating instrument fascia, and tactile controls. Yet every surface is weighted and positioned to serve a driver pressing hard. The Bentayga Speed is luxury weaponized. Starting price, about $267,000 MSRP. Number 5. The 2026 Range Rover Sport SV. The Range Rover Sport SV doesn't announce itself loudly, it simply performs at a level that commands attention. Twin-turbocharged 4.4-liter V8 output reaches 626 horsepower, matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission calibrated specifically for the SV's weight class and torque characteristics. The The 3.6-second 0 to 60 run belies a vehicle engineered to feel planted and progressive throughout its acceleration arc, not spiked at launch. SV bespoke suspension calibration, developed independently from the standard sports setup, tunes each damper individually across the axle, responding to road surface data fed through the vehicle's chassis dynamics module. Torque vectoring across both axles allows the rear to drive into corners with sports car-derived composure. Carbon fiber bonnet and roof panels reduce unsprung mass meaningfully, improving pitch and roll dynamics during hard driving. Inside, the SV Signature Suite cabin introduces acoustic isolation at a level that makes triple-digit speeds feel entirely detached from the external world. This is what a sport utility vehicle looks like when restraint is abandoned entirely. Starting price, about $152,000 MSRP. Halfway done. If someone handed you the keys to any of the first 5, no questions asked, which one are you driving home? Drop your pick down below. Number 4, the 2026 Aston Martin DBX S. The DBX S recalibrates what this category is allowed to claim. Aston Martin's hand-built 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, co-developed with AMG and tuned by Aston's Gaydon powertrain team, delivers 717 horsepower, surpassing every naturally aspirated competitor in this segment and most forced induction rivals. 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds arrives with a mechanical urgency that feels unmistakably like a sports car wrapped inside SUV dimensions. The rear-bias torque distribution and electronically controlled limited slip differential work in concert with a lowered, stiffened suspension geometry to produce rotation characteristics borrowed directly from Aston's GT program. Variable ratio steering adjusts response weighting across 3 distinct modes, each tuned to a specific driving environment: city, touring, or sport plus. Carbon ceramic brakes absorb repeated high-speed deceleration without thermal degradation. The interior remains unmistakably Aston, leather-bound, driver-oriented, with minimal digital intrusion, preserving the analog communication that defines the marquee's character. The DBX S belongs to a category it's quietly outgrowing. Starting price about $262,500 MSRP. Number 3. The 2026 Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT. Porsche doesn't build compromises, it builds benchmarks. And the Cayenne Turbo GT is the most uncompromising SUV the company has ever produced. A twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 generates 650 horsepower routed through an 8-speed PDK transmission, whose shift times approach those found in the 911 GT3. 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. Quickest of any combustion-only SUV in this countdown is achieved through a launch control system developed on the Nürburgring, where the Turbo GT set a production SUV lap record. PASM Sport suspension, lowered 17 millimeters compared to the standard Turbo, operates with ceramic composite springs at the rear, reducing unsprung weight while maintaining linear damping through high-speed direction changes. Rear axle steering reduces the turning circle at low speed and increases stability at high speed simultaneously without driver input. The GT-specific interior strips non-essential weight from seat structures and door panels, reinforcing that every decision here is performance-motivated. This is an SUV built to humiliate sports cars on closed circuits. Starting price, about $215,000 MSRP. 2026 Lamborghini Urus SE. The Urus SE arrives not as an evolution of the original, but as a redefinition of what the nameplate can achieve. Its plug-in hybrid powertrain pairs a twin-turbocharged 4-liter V8 with an electric motor integrated at the rear axle, producing a combined system output of 789 horsepower. The highest figure on this list produced by any vehicle short of the #1 position. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds is produced through instantaneous electric torque fill at low revs, eliminating the latency that turbocharged systems inherently carry. The transition between combustion and hybrid drive is imperceptible at speed, coordinated by Lamborghini's integrated vehicle dynamics controller managing torque vectoring, suspension, steering weight, and brake bias as a unified system rather than independent inputs. Carbon fiber body panels reduce overall mass despite the battery pack's addition, maintaining a power-to-weight ratio that rivals pure sports cars. The cabin carries Lamborghini's signature aggressive architecture, hexagonal forms, fighter jet toggles, and Alcantara throughout. The Urus SE is the most technically sophisticated performance SUV ever brought to production. Starting price about $246,500 MSRP. No more turbocharged warm-ups. The SUV sitting at #1 brought something to this list that none of the others could, and you're about to hear why. #1, the 2026 Ferrari Purosangue. Nothing in this category, or arguably in automotive history, carries the authority of a Ferrari with 4 doors and 4 seats. The Purosangue's 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12, mounted entirely behind the front axle in a mid-front configuration, produces 715 horsepower at 7,750 RPM, a figure achieved without forced induction, a distinction that places it in a class of 1. The engine breathes freely to an 8,250 RPM redline, generating a sound no turbocharged SUV can replicate or approximate. 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds understates the experience. It's the trajectory beyond that point. The way the V12 continues pulling with absolute linearity towards its limiter that communicates the difference between engineering a fast SUV and engineering a Ferrari. Ferrari's AV7 dual-clutch transmission, active suspension derived from GT racing, and rear-bias torque distribution create handling dynamics closer to the Roma than any conventional performance SUV. The cabin is unmistakably a prancing horse, analog where it matters, digital where it serves. The Purosangue doesn't compete within this category. It redefines where the category's ceiling exists. Starting price, about $400,000 MSRP. Be honest, is there an SUV we left off the list that you think deserves a spot? Call it out in the comments, and thanks for watching.